We will just wait for some people. You guys are going to hear some noise in the background. Jeff's baking. Hey. He's doing my baking while I do the sewing. In fact, I'm going to oil my machine while I wait for some people to come in. And then I'm going to show you some stuff. I'm just oiling my machine because I use it a lot. And you have to oil it if you use it a lot. There we go. She's all oiled. Now I just need a piece of fabric to clean it. Hi, Bethany. Hi, Lynn. Morning, girls. I got the world's dullest scissors here. It's just what I grabbed. And I got to wipe the oil because it kind of spills. And I hate that. And I don't want it on my quilts. I already had an accident with my ironing board. I tipped my machine over to clean it. And because the bottom has a little trap door that you can open to clean. And all the oil spilt on my ironing board. So I had to recover my ironing board. As you can see, this is new. I'm doing good. How are you doing, Lynn? I am not, Bethany. I am so not ready for the holidays. Oh my God. If there ever was a procrastinator in this world, you're looking at her. I have to finish 7 quilts. I only have 3 done. Did you put milk in there?
I did.
Did you put the rest of that cream in there?
I did.
I think it needs a little more milk. Anyway. Yeah, I have. So that's why I stopped baking. And Jeff's doing the baking while I get finished on these quilts. So I thought I'd go live to show you guys, how to do a binding on a quilt step by step. Because this is the most challenging part of quilting, is the binding. So let me show you the 2 quilts I have finished, ready to ship to my son. So this is his friends. So I've done all the quilting myself on my quilting frame. So it's completely quilted and binded, and it's got a built-in tag. It says to Nikki Love Mom 2019. And that one is done. And this is my son's, which is identical. I made 4 quilts exactly the same. They're really large quilts. So I've done all the quilting myself on my quilting frame, and I had a blast doing it. It was a lot of trial and error. My first quilt, I quilted on it. I had a few errors, but I got it all ironed out. So this is basically the quilts. And this is the back of the quilt. And I'm going to show you guys how I made this tag, because I'll be putting one in the next quilt that I'm binding. And these have to go in the binding. So all the quilts are done in the exact same fabrics. They're just really, really gorgeous. I'm so happy with these. They turned out gorgeous, and they're big. So when I wrap these up, which I'll be doing later today to get them shipped out, I'm going to wrap them like this. So when they open up the package, this is the part that they're going to see. Hi, Tracy. How are you, sweetheart? So yeah, these are the 2 I've done. I have 2 more to do in this exact fabric. They're already made. I just have to quilt them and bind them. All my quilts are made. I just have to get them quilted and binded. So I'm going to show you Chase's, because that's the one I'm working on today. My baby Chase. And you guys saw me. I did start this online with you guys. So this is Chase's quilt. And I just quilted it with a whole bunch of circles. So this is his quilt. This turned out so cute, and it's huge. It is absolutely huge. And I just love it because his bedroom is in greens and grays. So I thought this would match perfectly on his bed. So this one turned out really big, super cute. And there's his backing. So you can see all my quilting turned out really nice on the backing. So this is the quilt I'll be binding. I have it all trimmed and all squared off because I done this yesterday to get this one prepped for binding. So this one's all trimmed and ready to go. And I don't like to use that flat backing or batting. You know, the batting that's really called warm and natural. It's super thin and it's flat. What I like about this one here is this stuff here is it's fluffy. It's very lightweight, but it's super fluffy. And when you quilt your quilts, you see your little designs. You see how it's puffy between the quilt. Now with the other one, that one that's really expensive, the warm and natural one, that's why I did a lot of quilting, is because this will bunch up in the ball when you wash it. So that's why I done a lot of quilting, so it will not bunch up on them when they wash this quilt. Mind you, they're probably going to have to take this quilt to a laundromat because it is quite big. It will droop down a single bed, that's for sure. It'll hang down on the sides, but it is so cute. So cute. It turned out really, really cute. So yeah, I like to use this cheaper. I know it's cheaper, but it's softer, it's fluffier, and when you quilt it, you see your quilts, all the design in your quilting. When you use the flat stuff, you don't see it as easily. So that's why I chose the cheaper stuff. And I love it in between these quilts because you can clearly see how it made all the little puffies. It puffs up. Do you guys see that? Can you guys see the puffiness? So that's why I like using that cheaper stuff. Now, there was a lady on my Facebook who's actually one of my friends that lives here. Yeah, Bethany, I have to totally agree with you. But if you notice, 90% of the quilters use that batting. And I don't like it. I made a quilt out of it, several quilts out of it. And I just didn't get this effect when I quilted it. And I did all the machine quilting by hand on my machine. So, you know, and I did a lot of quilting. I did the stippling and everything on quilts. And it never puffed up like this. I like this. This is my favorite kind of, and it's light, so it's not super heavy. That batting is very heavy. This batting is light, fluffy like air. So, and it's nice and warm. So that's why I used it. And that's my favorite batting, even though it's what, $19 for a big, huge king size piece. And that's usually what I buy, is the king size ones. So I got this all pieced. I was so thrilled when I got it done because it turned out so nice. I did make a mistake. Oh my God, I made a huge mistake on this. I should have followed my design board where I laid all these pieces out, but no, I didn't. I had to screw it up and rip out, I don't know, how many was it? 4 squares I had to take apart, and they were 18-inch squares because I sewed the pieces wrong in the square. So I had to take 4 of them apart and fix that because the this just didn't look right. I had diamonds, these diamond shape, and I don't know what I did or how I did it, but I did it. So that was an error I had to fix. But anyway, back to that lady. This lady that is my friend on Facebook, I had no idea she had an embroidery machine. She lives right here where I live. And I seen something come up on my Facebook that she, with all these embroidery pictures. And I seen her, she said, if anybody needs anything embroidered, please message me. Well, I messaged her right away because I was looking for names online. I was looking for at Etsy, and these were super expensive to get made on Etsy. Well, I got the lady to make them for me. So this one's for my daughter in the purple. That's for her husband in the blue. It'll be on the blue quilt like you guys saw. That's for my other daughter in her purple quilt. That's for her husband, and his will be the blue one. And then there's Maya's, my granddaughter's. Her quilt is gorgeous. And my grandson Seth, and his has some orange in it. And I thought, what a perfect color. So that's for the other grandson. His quilt is identical to Chase's. They're the same pattern, but only Seth's has all different. No, it's all different colors. And it's got orange in it. So it was one of the fabrics I purchased years and years ago. So I'm going to show you how I get these prepped and ready. And I'm using pieces that were left over that I trimmed off of Chase's backing. And that's all I'm going to do to use these to extend them, because they need to extend long enough to go diagonally in the binding. So you can see I have these sewed in the binding here. So these tags, so these, you know, I just left them loose, but I want it long enough. And these white parts where Kim did these, they didn't fit, you know, wide like that way. So that's why I need to make them extended. So I just coughed up something here real quick. I did have to trim it, which I got my trimmer here, because it's not centered the way I like it. So I'm just going to put my rotary cutter here. I'm just going to cut right on my machine here on my craft mat, though. No craft is cheap. Got that right. Ain't that the truth? And I don't know why I'm using this big ass ruler, but it works for me. So I'm going to go, I want it to be a 1/2 inch away from the way the name is on here. So I want to be a 1/2 inch in, because I'll be sewing 1/4 inch. So I want to go 1/2 inch all the way around. So make it nice and even, Steven. So just going to trim this off. And I really like how she did these, because she did it in 2 layers of this thick stuff. So you know that writing isn't coming out anytime soon. So another 1/2 inch from the bottom of the 2019 part. And I can see I'm not so straight there, but I will straighten it up. And then we want a 1/2 inch from here. I do not know why I'm using this big, huge ruler. I got little ones too. And then a 1/2 inch from here, from all the writing. All right, so let's have a look at this. So I can see that one's not exactly straight, so we'll fix her up. Whoops. There we go. I think that's good. Well, it kind of got smaller than this side. All right, let's fix it up. Take a little tiny piece off of here too. There, so it's nice, perfect to go into his quilt. So all I did here was have a drink of my coffee. Take 2 pieces of his backing. Oh, I need to get these straight. Oopsies. So I'll cut all 3 of them at the same time. These were just trimmed off of the quilt after I was done quilting, so no big. They were scraps, but they're part of their quilt, so it matches really nicely with so let me just, I can't even line this up. It's just so out of whack. So I'll take about 1/2 inch off here. Yeah, let's do 1/2 inch. Get that. Now, we're good with that for now. So all I wanted was some nice straight edges. Because now I'm going to sew this right side together at 1/4 inch. Okay. Now let's get my foot pedal that's way underneath my table here. I'm going to back stitch back. So that's all I did for that, to get an extension. Oh shoot, I need to. I need to turn my iron on because I have to iron this after. And then we want the other nice straight edge. Which one is the straight edge? Both look straight. This looks like the one I just freshly cut, so. And then we'll put this on here. Drop it down. All right, how did my thread get all twisted in my needle? That's not good. There we go. Still twisted. Okay. Now, I'm just going to give these a little finger press just until I get my iron hot. I forgot to turn it on. So you can see how cute that's turning out so far. Now, all I did was put this backing on, this piece on here. Try to get it to sew straight. I'm going to start it right here. I'm going to try and sew straight. It's going to get all trimmed off anyways. And then I will go this way now and continue sewing on in this length all the way to the end here. Just make sure I've got both pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to trim off some threads here. So how's everybody been? Is everyone here ready for Christmas? Unlike I'm not. Now, we'll sew this side, same way. And then we will flip it around and continue sewing it here. So now it will be extended. Okay, now that looks crappy, I know, but we'll fix it up. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that off. Trim this piece off because these are too long. And then I'm going to trim down here about 1/4 inch or even less. Good enough. It's inside. You won't see this part anyway. There we go. Trim off these threads. And then you just want to turn it inside out, inside right. Hi, Yvonne. Yeah, I can imagine, Tracy. It is hard, honey. But you'll get through it. He wouldn't want to see you all sad and unhappy. Okay, I just want to get this ready. I'm sorry, guys, but I've got carpal tunnel really bad in my hands. And the other day when I was quilting, I was squeezing one of those clamps, you know, to clamp onto the frame. And something snapped in my wrist. And now I have all this pain in here. And I've been taking a leave, and it's even getting itchy. So I don't have much strength in this right thumb right now. I will one day when I get the surgery, which I probably will never get because I'm not one for surgeries. And anyways, it doesn't fix it because it comes right back. My sister had it done. A lady at work had it done. And they got their carpal tunnel right back. It's a temporary fix. Wow, this one's a little smaller than the other ones because I didn't have this much trouble turning it inside right. There we go. It's perfect. Ta-da! There we go. So this one here, there you go. See how I did that? How it turned out? I did see the doc. I have to have surgery, and I don't want surgery. It's very painful, but that was, I'm waiting for it to heal. I'm waiting for it to heal because I irritated it when I snapped, when something cracked in my wrist. And now my thumb just click, click, click. Every time I move it, I could hear it clicking. So I'll get her fixed someday when I have time. Just right now, I don't have the time. So I'm just trying to flatten this all out so it's nice, because I am going to top stitch it like I've done the other ones. I just think it looks cute with top stitching. So I'm just bringing that out. There we go. Let me grab my mat for ironing, so I can iron on here now. So yeah, this is turning out super cute. Okay. This is the best iron I ever purchased in my life. The best. So there, that's nice and flat. And I will iron it once after I do the top stitching on it. So let's get it top stitched. I'm just going to start right here, because I'll be cutting a lot of this off anyways. I just need it to fit across this quilt. I want to be nice and straight with the top stitching, especially on the white, because I have colored thread in here, brown. It looks cute with the brown top stitching. I'll show you guys in a sec. So you can basically make any kind of tag for your quilts, sign them somehow. I just thought up this would be really, really pretty. A nice finishing touch to the quilts, because they are Christmas gifts. So they are, they're signed inside the binding as well. I literally sign it with a black marker, just on the very edge on the binding. Whoops. So this is all prepped. And there we go. I'll show you how cute that looks. So it's nice and flat now. So now it looks like a really professional, whoops, come on, light. It looks professionally done now. Nice little tag for Chase's quilt. So I'm going to give that a quick another press. Flatten it out completely. And I'll set this aside for a time being, because I will be needing all that again. So there, we're going to set this off to the side, because now we're going to work on making the binding. And this pattern, I don't know how many bindings I was going to need, because it doesn't tell you in the pattern how many strips to cut. So I cut 2.5-inch strips, and this is the binding this binding is in his quilt. This fabric is in his quilt, and I'll show you it. You can see it right here. It's in his quilt. So the binding is going to look super nice on this back. Really, really, really nice on the backing of that. So that's his binding. So I'm just going to sew all of these together. I have 2.5-inch strips. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 14 strips. I should measure so I don't sew all these for nothing. I'm just lazy, okay? Let me open this up and I can measure by going, okay, so let me see. We've got the length here. So this is folded over in half. So let's see how many strips I will need. Really, in all reality, I don't want to sit here and sew all those because I'm sure I don't need them all. So let's go. We'll let a little bit hang off the edge here. So there's 1. And 2. And 3 and 4. So I'll definitely need 4 for the width. And I will need, so I'm just kind of measuring, letting it hang out there. I will need 2 and a little bit for the top. So we need 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got to sew 9 strips instead of 13. That sounds way better. What do you think? Okay, so what did I do with those strips? They're right here. So I don't do any pinning when I sew my strips. I'm pretty good at doing this now, so, you know, I don't need to do that. So you want to take your right side of your strip, like so. This is my right side facing up. That's the wrong side. This is the right side. And then you're going to take another strip and you're just going to overlap it about a ½ inch on each. So a ½ inch here, ½ inch here, or a little bit more until you get rid of this selvage. You want to get rid of the selvage. Now you can pin it in place, but I don't pin it. I don't do anything. I just sew. So I put my needle down, and where that little V is right in here, where the 2 fabrics match in there, there's a little V right here. See the V? I put that needle right smack in the middle of the V. I keep it straight. So this other V here, I want to come out on the other V. So we're just going to sew. And I'm going to use a small stitch because I got to cut. And I'm coming out right where the other V is. So you've got the V here is where you started, and the V here where you need to end. So like that. So you're going to sew on a diagonal. So when you open up your strip, it looks like this. So you have a nice diagonal seam. So when you do your folding over of your binding, your seams are not going to be on top of each other, so it creates less bulk. So now I just need to trim these suckers off. Where's my scissors? And I trim them down a little bit to about a ½ inch. And then I press them open. When I get to my pressing, I will press them open. So I will finger press them. And then when I get to the ironing these strips, I will press them open. So now they have a diagonal seam. So like I said, when you fold this over, because your binding has to be folded in half, your seams, one seam's going to be over here and one's going to be over here. So they're not on top of each other and there's not a lot of bulk. So I want to keep my fabric right side up because the bottom one has to be right side up. How many did I say I need to sew? 9. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we'll get rid of these extra ones because I don't need to sew all of them. So I just take this strip, open it up with the right side, drop it on top here, turn it, holding it with my hand, of course, so it doesn't shift. Put it right in the middle of that V. Kind of make it straight with this one. And then I always hold this because I don't want a bird's nest under that. And then I come right out at the V again. So you can see where I came out right at that V. Started on the V and come out on the V. And then we'll take our scissors and trim this down to 1/4 inch or so. And then we'll trash this. Be very careful. You don't sew one seam the right way. Make sure all your seams, that's why I don't play with this. I just leave it like that and I iron it later. I just pull a strip down. I don't undo my strips here either. I usually just leave them right here. I just pull it open because sometimes some fabrics you can't see where the right side is, and this one's one of those ones. I can see it if I looked hard enough, but I just leave them alone and I don't muck them all up. And then I trim. Throw this in the garbage. And then I just keep laying it back down right side up. Like that. Super easy. Super fun. Hi, Nan. How are you? Okay, so get everything nice and straight. That down. So come January, there's a lot of videos out there of what's going on with the COPPA stuff and the FTC. I'm honestly unsure of what I'm going to do, because anything in my videos that I made with paper crafting that is appealing to children, and they don't define that word at all. They do not define it. They just said appealing to children. Anything, colors, animations, anything like that that's appealing to children. So I haven't seen anything where the FTC is going to be lenient on that. I honestly did not start my channel pertaining to children. Never. I mean, it was family, children friendly. You know, I tried to keep mine at a very general audience, you know, because I didn't appreciate the swearing and talking disgusting on my channel. So I tried to keep my channel for all audiences, because YouTube was clamping down on people back in 2013 and so on and so forth about making your channel family user-friendly, family-friendly type thing. So my channel was never created with the intention of it being for children, but I did do a lot of crafts, and I think that's really going to hurt the crafters a lot, because we use animated paper, we use markers, we color, we stamp with inks, and that kind of stuff is appealing to children. Now listen to those lawyers. There's 2 lawyers that I watch on YouTube that talk about the COPPA and the FTC rules and how it's going to affect your channel. If that means I have to take all my videos that I have made, because they're bright and colorful, and turn them into videos for children, I lose all my monetization. I lose all my comments. I lose everything. The videos will not be searchable. You can find them on my channel. That's it. You can't search YouTube for them. Everything, just because you lose end screens, you lose everything that you have for those videos. If I was to do that with all my videos, it would be pointless for me to even be on YouTube, because what's the point of having all my videos for kids? I lose monetization. I don't get to talk to anybody. You lose everything. So if I changed my channel made for kids, I'm getting screwed royally. Not just me. Well, a lot of people out there, a lot of crafters, a lot of people that have crafting channels, not just paper crafting, but all kinds of crafts that kids get appealed to it. And I'm scared to get a lawsuit against me from the FTC, because they're the ones coming after all the YouTube creators. They're the ones that are going to be chasing us down. If we have anything in our content that appeals to children, we can get a $42,000 fine. And I'm just really, really unsure what I'm doing. I've got my paper crafting stuff that I purchased to start paper crafting again. But I'm not paper crafting for kids. My general audience is adults. Is it not? I don't have a bunch of kids on my channel. Yeah, it's really going to stink, Bethany. Like, that's just very, very heart-wrenching. So, not sure what else I can do other than, cry about it. And it doesn't matter really what platform you go on, whether you go on YouTube, Twitter, wherever you go live, it don't matter. You have to comply with the copper rules on no matter what platform you go on. Nan, that is what 90% of the creators are saying. Why do we have to pay for your parenting mistakes? So you can't watch your kids in what they're watching. So now the YouTube creators are going to pay for what these lazy parents don't want to do for watching their kids. They shove a device in front of them and tell them, okay, there you go. Have at her. Go watch your YouTube. So we're the ones that are going to pay for this in the end. Sure are. Again, no matter, even if I put a disclaimer in and say, oh, at the beginning of my video, this video is not intended for children. It don't matter, they said, because even if I say it's not intended for children, if there's anything in here that appeals to children, then you are going to get slapped with a fine if I don't mark it properly. That's the part that's really going to irritate me. And we have to suffer because of lazy parents that don't know how to watch their kids and stop giving them goddamn devices to occupy them. Nowadays, that's all kids do is watch YouTube videos, but never go outside and play with a bunch of kids. When I was younger, that's what we did for fun. We went outside, we played with kids, we mingled, we had friends. Nowadays, you're lucky if the kids even go outside to play. It's super, super sad. Super, super sad. And now we're us creators. A lot of creators are already deleted all their videos, deleted their channels, especially the gamers. There's gamers that, they do adult gaming, but kids are appealed to it. So kids watch it. And now gamers have already deleted all their videos, their whole channel, everything. Just deleted it all. A lot. Even crafters. I've watched crafters who even deleted their channels because they don't want to get slapped with that hefty fine. It's scary. Oh, God, thank you, Nan, because I thought I was the only one. Their rules were so vague. And yeah, they are so black and white, you can't even understand any of it. Yeah, exactly. You played and you used your imagination. And now, because they told us that we have to be kid friendly, a couple years back there when they started clamping down on YouTubers and saying that, you know, if you're going to have swearing and cussing and all this bad stuff on your channel, you're not going to get monetized. So you have to have a family friendly kind of channel. So once we did that, we had no idea that our channel was literally going to be held against us now, because now we made it. Like, YouTube really pissed me off, guys. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still don't know, because come January the 1st, if I don't mark all my channels, right now they're marked as not for kids, but that's not going to save me at all. Even though I know my audience, my general audience are adults, was not intended for kids. I don't know. I just see that's where the black and white is, right there in that we're in the language that they used in the FTC law. The language they use is so vague and so hard to understand. You don't even know if they're meaning that if you use a different kind of color or something, you know, that's appealing to kids in a piece of paper that you color on or you draw on. What is going on with this? There we go. Yeah, it's a very touchy situation with a lot of crafters. So now I'm just going to go along here and iron all of my seams open and give this a little press, I guess. I really basically just worried about getting these seams pressed open so I can fold it in half and iron it. And then the binding will be prepped. It'll get ironed literally when I fold it. So I'm not going to worry about that. So yeah, I'm so worried. I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to delete all my videos. I worked so hard to make those videos. Exactly, it is a hostage. We are hostages. And yet YouTube was going to give us less money, but they're still going to collect theirs. You know what I mean? They're still going to collect all their money for the ads that they get, when meanwhile mine's demonetized because it's made for children when it's not. I don't know. I just don't know. It's so frustrating. So now I got to really be careful. Okay, so I got that all, those seams pressed. So now I got to fold this in half with wrong sides together. So this stuff frays like crazy. So I'm going to just fold the seam in half, because this is now going to be my binding. It's going to go on Chase's quilt. Tiki is a very noisy little bird. My ironing board's hot. So it's nice when it's hot because it helps it press easier. Kiki, you ever shut up? No, you don't. Okay. So this is what you have to do with a 2.5-inch strip. It's fold it in half and press your binding, because this is what's going to seal that quilt. Hi, Debbie Wagner. I hope that ruling does backfire, Nan. I really do, and in their face. That's why I'm waiting till last minute before I make any decision, because come January 1st, which is not a very long time away, I'm hoping something will change before then. Because I know the lawyers got a petition going. I signed the petition. I sent FTC a comment. You know, they're supposed to be listening to us creators, and I don't know how many people signed that petition at the time I signed it, which was, I don't know, a month ago. There was 111,000 people that had signed it, and those are YouTube creators. And hi, Karina. Yeah, that's right. You know, when I brought my kids into this world, I didn't pawn them off onto a YouTube. I didn't. It didn't even exist. My kids went outside to play. They didn't come in until dark, or they came in for their breakfast, their lunch, their suppers, and that's it. They went back outside to play. My kids always wanted to be outside. They rarely sat in the house. My son sat in the house more than my girls did, because they had to mingle with all their friends, because he played on Nintendo. He played a Nintendo machine, but I used that as a weapon, as blackmail, because if he didn't do his homework or his chores, he didn't get to play Nintendo. And believe me, he got that work done. Nowadays, kids don't have chores because they just have YouTube and a device. Here's your phone, honey. Have a phone for Christmas. Oh, you want a tablet too? Okay. We'll get you a tablet for Christmas so you can watch YouTube. And we got your babysitters. All the creators are your babysitters. I can just go to work and give you a device, honey. Incompetent parents. They're the ones that are destroying it for us. Yeah. The world is always changing, man. Sure is. Sure is. Yep. I'm glad I was raised in the generation I was in. I truly am. That taught me respect. That taught me how to raise kids. That taught me how to cook. That taught me how to clean. That taught me how to be independent and look after myself. Nowadays, how many kids cook at 10 years old? I did cooking at 10. My mom was I was doing dishes and cleaning every Saturday because we lived out in the farm. We had a lot of work to do. We had a lot of chores. And our chores came before anything. It wasn't even when I was younger, it wasn't even talkable. You could not talk to your parents and try to wheeze your way out of getting chores done. You didn't even think of doing that. Try to blackmail you, bribe your parents. Oh, if I do this, if I do that, can I go here? Can I go there? Can I get a device? You didn't even think of negotiating that. You did your chores, and that was the bottom line. I never argued with my parents about that. Because if I did, I got grounded anyways. If I tried to argue something that I was given an order to do. Like my mom would make us vacuum the carpet because we had shag rug. And I had to rake the carpet after I vacuumed it with the damn rake, with the carpet rakes. Oh my God, I remember that. Made the carpet look really nice. That was a way of life back then. And I mean, like, seriously, it taught you values in life, what was important. And I mean, being a housewife, a mother, was cooking, cleaning, raising children. Those kinds of things were extremely important when you were younger because you develop your skills at a very young age. Yeah, me too. Me too, Tracy. It was just, you didn't negotiate with your parents. You didn't argue with your parents. You did what you knew you had to do. Saturday was cleaning day in the house. The rest of the week was I had chores in the barn. I had not the barn, into the chicken coop. I had to clean that out. I had to feed all the animals, the cows. I had to clean up the coop, put hay, put straw there. You just didn't dare argue with your parents about that and say, well, can I do it after I play with my friends? Yeah, nope, no can do. All right, so I'm going to bring my thing back here. This thing is so heavy, I just can't lift it right now with my thumb. So, put my standard table back on. There we go. So now it's time to sew the binding on. Got to pin it all first. I was 8 when my parents divorced, and mom worked full time in the medical field, so we had responsibilities when we got home from school. Yeah, my mother was in a car accident when she was 42. She was in and out of the hospital getting surgeries. My father, he owned his own business called Country Flooring. He laid flooring and he worked long hours. So when we got home from school, we had to feed the cows, feed the chickens, clean the chicken coop, collect the eggs. We had to do all of that, especially by the time my mom was in the hospital. And when she was in the hospital, I had to do all the cooking because I was the oldest one left at home. The rest of them were all married and gone off on their own lives. So I had to do the cooking for my dad and my brother and my younger sister. So, I mean, my mother, and I was what? I think I was 12 years old, 13 years old when my mom was in her vehicle accident and she was seriously injured. So she had a lot of grafting done, and she had to have plastic knuckles put in her hand because all her knuckles got crushed. But yeah, she was in and out of the hospital, and we did our chores. We didn't argue about it. It was just not an option. You didn't even think of arguing about it. My husband is baking for me. I gave him all the recipes yesterday. He made the peanut butter marshmallow squares. Then he made triple nut snowballs. Oh my God, those are so good. And the day before I made, I did some baking, but I couldn't finish it because I had to get these quilts done. I just can't piss around with baking, and the baking's not done. So just finishing it. Doing a good job. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta run potty because I've been drinking a lot of coffee. So just give me a sec, okay? I'm just gonna mute. So you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Whew, that feels better. Sorry, guys. Rainy and dreary here in Indiana. Oh my God, you guys, I got snow galore in my house. Okay, so I'm just trying to drink this coffee. Now I'm going to move my mouse because I have a bad habit of hitting it. And I'm going to bring out Chase's quilt, and I got to find the bottom back. So hang on, I got to hold this up so I can see where the length is and where the width is. Okay, so this bottom right corner will be where the tag is going to go. And I kind of put it on top of my camera cord. Oopsies. Get off of there. Okay. So it's going to go in this corner here. Believe me, guys, this is a humongous quilt. So this is how I do this. Hopefully you can see. So that's why I made this to match the backing. So it kind of camouflages that piece anyway, because this was not big enough. So I just kind of leave it roughly here. I got to remember that when I turn over on the back side, when I turn my binding over, I don't want it to hit into the writing here. I don't want it to hit any of the white. So I'm leaving enough space for it. So I could come down a little bit. And I want to kind of center it here in the corner. So I think that's perfect right there. So let's pin this in place with real pins. I hate pins, but that's all that works on these points here. And I'm going to pin it right in this point here. Pin one here. And I will take these pins out when I stitch the binding onto the quilt. But for now, they're not going to get stitched. Oh, 1 minute. My pills are here, guys. One sec. The prescription just came. It's so nice to get your prescriptions delivered by the drugstore. And it's free delivery. So. Okay, mouse out of the way and scissors. And my pins can go there now. And my coffee needs to go out of the way as well. So now I'm done with my iron. I'm going to shut it off. And now I need to flip this over so I can trim this off carefully so it's even with the quilt. See, that's what I meant when I said I really didn't need it too long, because I knew I would be trimming that off. And then this one here with the stinking pins in it. And I will show you guys my quilting machine. I'm going to do a video on when I quilt my next quilt so you guys can see how I done that. And I have a thread showing right there that I didn't trim off the back. Okay, so there you go. Look at that. Pretty cool, eh? All right, so first things first is I'm going to sew the binding on, and then I have to pin it after. I don't pin it right now, not for this step. So I'm going to start. Now, my quilt top is here. Okay, the top of the quilt is here. I want to go down about this far before I actually start with the binding. Now, when you put your binding on, you want to leave a nice long tail because you have to join these in the end. So I'm just going to leave a nice long tail like this, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch. And this is very tricky with a big quilt, but I have a big table here. So I'm quite pleased with that. So my binding, this is going to go on the floor in front of me along, I got my legs spread wide open here because I don't want to be poked with the pins. And then I'm just going to bring my quilt up like this and get sewing the binding on. And then I have to pin the other part of it. So this is how this is going to go. So you can see I have a really nice straight edge on my quilt. I really did a good job, I think, of squaring this all off perfectly. So my quilt, everything lines up. So here we go. We're just going to do a 2.5 inch stitch, and I'm going to do a back stitch because this part here where we join it in the end, I'll show you how to join it. It's super easy. And I am going to show you guys how to do your miter. So that's about how much I left. Most of that's going to be cut off. So we're going to get to a corner and I'll show you how to miter your corners. So. And I'm using it. See, this will get turned over and there my quilt will be finished. That's how you finish off your quilts. These pins are dangerous to my health. I hate pin pokes so much. I hate how this frays too. It frays really bad this time. A lot. It's even snagging my machine. So I'm getting close to my pins here. And I want to do this side first, just so I can get rid of those pins. Got the sun shining in my eyes, so it's nice and bright in front of my window here in the kitchen. That's where I have this quilting frame set up. It's the only room in the house that would fit it. And the quilting turned out so cute on this. I'm so happy with it. There's a few mistakes, but you won't see them because I'm not even going to tell you where they are, but there are some mistakes. Like I overlapped a couple times. Oh, see? Right in my leg. Pin pokes. I need to get rid of these pins. Oh my God, Tiki, he just won't shut up. Okay, so I'm coming close to my pins here. So I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to sew over top of this pin. So once I got to really be careful here. So I don't want that to move. So maybe my pin will be fine like that. And that kind of moved on me. So actually, I'm going to do it this way. Because then I could pull the pin out. There we go. Because I hate getting poked. Dangerous. I'll show you guys. See this? See this cut? There's a cut on my finger. When I was quilting, and you could see it's kind of, when I was first started quilting, my sister said it was here. And she's like, oh, look at this. And when I looked, the needle hit into my finger and went straight down and ripped the skin. So I got a needle into my finger, the sewing machine needle, because I was looking at my sister, and talk about painful. Holy macaroni, was that painful. And it was bleeding like a pig. Okay, so I'm going to pull out that pin, because I don't want to be wearing it. And there is another pin here, which I'm going to pull it out. Because it's going to hit the feed dogs. Okay, so we're over this part here. Now we're at the part where we're going to do a miter on the corners. And this is a really easy part to do. So what you want to do is before you get to your corner, take a pin, your favorite thing, and put a pin in and mark 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. So I can see I got a little corner piece out there, so I'm going to trim that off. But I want to go about 1/4 of an inch from this edge. So I have it marked. Let me bring my camera up closer so you guys can see what I'm doing because it's really far away. Jeff, do something with that bird. He is annoying me. So let me come in a bit closer. Where are you? So let's move down. Oh, shoot. No, I didn't want to do that, guys. Hang on. I'm trying to get it so you can see what I'm doing. Where are you? There we go. Okay. So there's my pin. It's approximately 1/4 of an inch away. I'm just going to trim off this little tippy thing here. I got a little tip sticking out there. Trim that off. So approximately 1/4 of an inch away from this edge. Because that is where I want to stop sewing. Okay. So let me sew right to my pin, and then I'm going to take a back stitch, and then I'm going to take it off. My foot pedal likes to take off on me constantly. Okay. Now I can't see chat, idiot. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to be very careful. When I get to there, I want to make sure I get right to that pin and back stitch. Okay, so I can remove the pin now, bring up my needle, and find out why this is doing that again. Why this is crossed. Anyway, I'll just undo this. Why my thread is wrapped around my needle like that. Am I the only one this happens to? Okay, I'm just going to take the thread out and rethread my machine. Okay, so trim off the thread here. And I shouldn't be using these big scissors for just trimming off threads. Okay, so you can see I've got my 1/4 inch here, which is more than 1/4 inch. So I'm going to resew that. That's got to go down a wee bit more. I didn't go far enough. So I'm going to take a couple more stitches, back stitch, and that should be good. All right. There we go. Now we have our 1/4 of an inch. See? That's perfect. So I have a little piece right here. So now what you do is you bring up your binding so that it is level and flush with the side. So bring it up, give it a little press in here, like so. So you see my binding is straight in here. It's even with this. Okay, and then you're just going to fold it down, still holding on to your little fold there. Fold it down like so that it's even again going down this side now. So it's perfectly square in here. Now, you're not going to start at the beginning here, you're going to go in 1/4 of an inch and start there, 1/4 of an inch. Basically, you want to start where you left off, right about here. Okay, so that's basically where I want to start, right there. So let's turn our quilt. I get to get rid of these pins real soon. Okay. Drop my needle down. I'm at my 1/4 inch. Take a couple of back stitches, and now you continue on. All right, so I need to maneuver my quilt now because now I'm going down another side. Like so. And again, I have these pins still here holding my tag. Where are you? I'm coming right up to this pin here. And I will sew over it. So let's, ouch. Let's leave the pin in. Oh, shoot. That hit into this. Hope it didn't break my needle or bend it. You know how many needles I broke when I was quilting? A lot. Looks pretty good still, I think. Doesn't sound good. Sounds like it's touching something. Yeah, I might have bent my needle. Let's have a look. It's sewing okay. I'm just going to trim off some threads. So now you can see this is sewed in. It's in there. It's a nice little loose guy. Does Facebook have a video group like this? No, but I might. Hey, Misty, I don't know what you mean by video group. Like, I do have a Facebook group, but it's not a video group. Guys, I have to change my needle because I can see I did bend it. I can see it's going like this. Very, ever so slightly. So, if I don't change it, I'm just going to do damage to my... Jeff, can you come and get these and just sit them on the back of the couch there? On my couch. On that stuff there. Okay. So, I need another needle. I've gone through a lot of needles already, guys, quilting, because I was pulling the machine when I shouldn't have been. Oops, that's not the needle. So yeah, I'll show you guys this needle is bent ever so slightly. It's not perfectly straight anymore. So I have a little place where the bent needles go. And I use size 16 because I'm going through a lot of layers. So a size 16 needle is pretty good. 14 or 16. Oops, I just need one. All right, we are good. Quickly change this. And this is why you don't sew over pins. Does it bend your needle or it breaks it? Sucks. Okay, we are good. And can carry on. All right, here we go. have to keep shifting the quilt because it gets tight for some reason. And then we get to do another corner. I'm going to show you that again. The mitering of the corners is done in kind of like various ways. I like this way because my corners turn out perfectly. I should have showed you on the other quilts before I gave them the job how nice the corners turned out. And then you're not fussing and fighting with corners to get them nicely mitered. Perfect. Okay, that just moved. How much did it move? Let's have a look. It moved too much. So I'm going to pull this out. I need this binding to be on here straight. And it shifted on me, so. Now pull it out. Let's see where it kind of slid off the edge here. You want your binding to be on exactly 1/4 of an inch, no more and no less, or you'll be hand sewing it. There we go. So let's resew. And look at this. I have a nice mess. Yeah. That's what you get when you try to sew with your foot pedal up. Is there anything else I could do wrong today for you guys? So somehow my thread got super tight. Oh, man. I never made this many mistakes yesterday, but it's because I'm live. That's why. There we go. Something feels kind of tight. I would just have a check-see at my bobbin, make sure it's not messed up in there. No. All right, I'll just try it now. Even though it feels pretty snug, like a bug in a rug. Let's see if that works. I need to get my 1/4 inch. There we go. Resewed. I have to keep shifting it. It is a bulky quilt. Hey, I did something. I'm following the wrong guide. Dang it. Here we go again. This one's double sewed. I thought this was too skinny looking. So can you see how bad I did? I'll show you guys. You can't see that, but I was following the wrong guide on my plate here. I was not following the 1/4 inch mark. I was following 1/8 of an inch. Looking good. Right, Bethany? I'm blaming the machine. It's not the operator. It's having an off day today. Everything that could go wrong, I'm doing it in the video just on purpose. If you guys believe that. I'm telling you the truth. Everything that could go wrong is going to go wrong because I'm live. That's why. And it's no big deal if you didn't make... Now I'm really fat here. What am I doing? Jeez, Ruby. I hope that's not going to ruin the effect of my flipping it over. Okay, so I'm at the edge here again. So I want to be 1/4 of an inch. Oh, look, that even bent my pin. We'll get rid of that pin. In with the damaged ones. These are brand new pins too, expensive ones, because they have silicone on the tips and they're flat. You can iron them. Okay, so 1/4 inch away is approximately right there. So I'm going to sew to that pin. This time I'm not going to sew over it. I don't want to change my needle again. There we go. Take the pin out. Take the needle out. That pin fell. Turn this off. So we'll do this little maneuvering again. So you want to fold this over until you're in line perfectly, in line with this side. So I'm perfectly in line with that. I believe I am. My corner's here. So I'm going to give that a little press. I'm going to hold it with my fingers and fold this over. And then I'm going to line it up with the top. So it's lined up even on this side and even on this side. And then you're going to start sewing where you left off. So if you want to put a pin in it to see where you left off, is right about there for me. So I'm going to just bring this over here, hold this, drop my needle down where my pin is, right like that, pull my pin out, and then that's where I can start sewing, 1/4 inch away from the edge. For some reason, that doesn't look like it's quite squared off, so I'm going to trim that. See, right here, it's a little crooked. It was the rotary cutter, it wasn't me. I did not do that. So I'm going to grab my scissors here before I forget. And I'm going to trim that even flush with that. Because this will hurt me when I go to flip that binding over. So you definitely want to. Okay, guys, you have to excuse me. I have to take my blood pressure pills. I was out of them. And it's now 11 o'clock and I take these at 7. So I need to take them. Just give me a second to take them. Whoops. Oh, shoot. How do you get this off? Every time I get my pills, they change the bottles. The other one fell. The lid underneath my desk. Here we go. Okay. I have to take these. I'm sorry. I don't want to miss a day. And my coffee's getting grossly cold. So, there, I feel better. I know I take them. Okay. They're good. We're on the 1/4 inch mark. Yes. Okay. Ugh. Nice big table I have here to spread my quilt out is this quilting table. It's awesome to sew on. That's why I'm sewing on it. It's probably vibrating in the camera. If it is, I'm sorry. I'm on your schedule. Hey, I'm going to start my paper crafting in January. And it's going to be adult only. I'm going to start swearing on all my videos. And then I'll say it's not kid friendly. But then if I do that, oh, my board moved. Hang on, guys. I got to fix this. One sec, guys. My board came out and my table is sliding around like crazy. There we go. Dump it. All right. How's that? Better? Yes. Now my table's not going to slide away on me. It's on part of my quilting board, my quilting frame, and it's got rollers on it, and the rollers are rolling this way, and my table's taking off on me. So, because I got my ironing board sitting on top with my machine on top of that, but I just find it perfect height for me to sit here and, oh, bye, Misty. Thanks for coming, sweetie. I just find it more comfortable for me. I'm not hunched over or reaching up high to sew. Okay, this is getting too tight. There we go. I really like these little curlies on Chase's quilt. My daughter says to me, she goes, did you just out of your head just go make, what made you make all these curly circles? I said, that's called quilting. Just can't make generation understand for the love of quilting. Quilts, you know what? I'm going to admit something to you guys. Not that I want to, but I will. Because you're really going to think I'm old. But lately, last week or so, no, last couple weeks, Jeff and I have been watching the Waltons. Okay, come on. Who doesn't love the Waltons? But what I like about it the most is, you know, it's back in the Depression day, of course, where all these handmade quilts are on all their beds. I love admiring their quilts. Even the quilting, like I was watching last night, and Ben was covering up with his quilt, and I could see all the hand stitching, and one says, Healing Prayers from May, M-A-Y. I'm thinking, wow, what a cool quilt. They somehow got it in their hands and used it on their show. But I was admiring all those quilts, guys. I really am. Every time I watch that show, I always admire all the quilts they have everywhere. There you go. That is so true, too. so true, Bethany. Kids hate when parents kiss. Oh my God. Oh, that was too funny. How's your cookies come along, Jeffrey?
Good.
Good. Right now he's making cherry snowballs. Oh my God. I found all these recipes online. I went and wrote down all the ingredients I needed because the other night I made lemon poppy seed thumbprint cookies that had raspberry seedless preserves in it for the thumbprint. And then I made peanut butter with a Hershey's Kiss on it. Hi, Kathleen. And I used a candy cane kiss on those. And then I made cinnamon pecan icebox cookies. So those sat in the freezer overnight. And then I made cherry icebox cookies, and we cooked those yesterday. And we made our peanut butter squares yesterday with with walnuts. And then we made another batch with pecans. And Jeff made triple nut snowball cookies yesterday. And today he's making the cherry ones because I don't have time to do them. Like I'll go give him a hand and, help him if he's stuck on something. But he's been doing pretty darn good. He doesn't need my guidance. He knows what he's doing. I just had to show him what creaming was when you cream the butter. So I'm at my end again, guys, and I'm marking my 1/4 of an inch away from the end. So we are making cookies for, all my girls too, for their families. So we do have quite a bit going on here. My house is upside down, unfortunately. Okay. Take that pin out now. Ouch. It's not really upside down. The kitchen is got stuff on all the counters because it's our baking supplies are all sitting on the counter. Okay. So we fold this back till it's nice and straight. So you've got that kind of like a little pleat there. Can you guys see it? Are you in the camera, Ruby? Here. Can you see that? No, because that is in the way. So here, it's folded down. I'm lined up on this edge here. See how my binding is lining up? So when I fold it down, I just push 2 fingers here, fold it over, and line it up at the top here. So I got to make sure it's completely lined up on this side and at the top here, and it's sticking out a bit too much there. So it has to come down a bit. So now it's nice and even. So I don't really need to stick a pin in there because I know basically where to put my needle, but some people should stick a pin in there. If you're not good at judging with a 1/4 of an inch, then you should stick a pin in there. I'm going to come down a 1/4 of an inch, drop down my foot, and I'm going to sew a couple of back stitches. And then we're on to this side again. That simple, guys. It's just that simple. It's intimidating. Bindings are very intimidating because if your quilt's not even squared up perfectly, once you put the binding on, you can't tell. Unless you fold it in half and go, oopsies. That's where you're going to see. And my quilts are not perfectly squared. It's impossible to do that perfect. I'm sorry, I've tried. Ooh, I hope I have enough binding. That's all I'm worried about. I've sewed 9 of them together for this. Then I'll show you how to join your binding. So it's just got a small little seam. if we're getting close to the end, I will definitely have enough binding. Whew. Finish this side and we're done. And then I'll show you how to end your binding. And I would say to do it that way, the way I'm going to do it, because it really gives it a professional finished look. You don't want to just hack it off and sew it. Yeah, I have a 1/4-inch foot. I'm too lazy to put it on. That's my problem. And I don't want it when I sew the top part of the binding, the second part of the binding. I don't want the 1/4-inch foot on because it drags and snags into the binding. You'll see what I mean. Bernina's are nice sewing machines too. Bernina's, Baby Lock, Janome, Juki. Mine's a Juki. I love this Juki. Wouldn't be without it. All these years of quilting, I have no idea where my head was at. And I didn't have a Juki. Mind you, I do have a beautiful computerized Kenmore sewing machine that I love to this day still. It did get me a lot of rag quilts made, and it did quilting, this kind of quilting. I did hand quilting on it. That machine was my go-to machine, and it still is. The thing with the Juki, this only sews a straight stitch. This doesn't have any zigzag or fancy stitches on it, and I need my other machine for zigzag. So I had to use it the other day to sew up the leader cloths for this quilting frame because I needed to make them smaller. They were too long. So I made them, and I had to zigzag the edges, you know, so it doesn't fray on me. So I did have to pull out that machine the other day. And I'll be pulling it out tomorrow because my daughter's coming here to sew something for her husband on that machine. She can't use my Juki because I'll be using it. Okay, we're getting snagged here somewhere. All right. This is a lot of quilt, guys. It's a big quilt. And Seth's is just as big. All of them are pretty much this big. So we're getting to the end. All kinds of threads everywhere, guys. I can't get them all off no matter how much I try. I don't even bother anymore. I'm just going to take the quilt outside, give it a shake off whatever threads I can. The others can get just picked off. That won't come off. Okay, so I'm at the end here again. Let me mark my 1/4 inch. I'm just guesstimating 1/4 inch. Looks like it to me. All these frayed pieces are driving me to drink. Okay, so I'm getting close to this. Careful, careful, careful. With the needle. All right, we're good. These threads, fraying threads everywhere. Driving me crazy. All right, last one. Last corner. So I'm just going to fold it up. Simple, simple, simple. Give it a little press. Hold it with my 2 fingers. Bring it down. Pull that thread off. And line it right up even with the top and the side. So that it's perfectly lined up here. And it's lined up here. Okay, because this is really, really important. To be lined up here and lined up here. and then you start a 1/4 inch down and a 1/4 inch in. And I'm holding it with all my might and strength. So I'm in a 1/4 inch in and a 1/4 inch down. Looks like 1/4 inch. Now, I'm at the end here where I've left this. So I'm only going to stitch down about 5 inches, maybe 4 or 5 inches. And then I'm going to stop. Yeah, it can go a little wee bit more. And I'm going to back stitch here. And I'm going to pull this off the machine now, because now we want to join our two bindings. So I was a whole, it was better to have too much than be too short. I was a whole two of these too long. Those don't cut. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to just snip off my leftover binding. This is all that was left over. I don't need it, but I do need these 2 pieces. Now to join this, now pay close attention to what I'm doing. I want you guys to see what I'm doing. Oops, oops, don't fall. I need you guys in. Okay. Now, this is the right side of my fabric. This piece here is the right side. You want to open it up like that, okay? And leave it open up. Fold it down a bit. You want to be halfway basically between the amount of space that you left. So I left this much space unbinded right now. Okay, so you're going to take this. You're going to open it up with the right side facing down. Okay, and I'm going to go about halfway, so I'm going to fold it right there. And I'm going to leave it nice and straight. So it's nice, perfect right there. And I'm going to stick a pin in there. Okay, this is my right side. This part here is the right side. You're going to do the same thing over here. You're going to open this up. And now you're going to fold it down to match. So open it up and make sure it's nice and straight. And you want it to match right here. This side here. See that? So now I'm going to take my pin out and I'm going to slide my pin underneath. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to stick a pin, but I'm going to stick it underneath this top piece. So I'm basically going to stick it right here, just to hold that, so I can get these 2 pieces pinned. Oh, it snagged it. So now I'm going to stand these 2 pieces together like this. I'm kind of pinching them. You see? I'm pinching them. I'm pinching them right here. So there's no extra binding. Now I'm going to stick a pin right where my fingernail is. I'm going to stick a pin in there. Don't snag anything else. Stick a pin right in here. And then I can pull these 2 pins up. Now, what you're going to do is take your 2 pieces. That's why you leave this opening, because this opening is super important. And you're going to bring this here. I got to flip it around so I can sew this with right sides together. Okay. Now I want to line this up on the top. Make sure it's straight on the top and straight on the bottom. So this is all flattened. Hang on. So I don't end up with a crooked piece of binding. All right, so it looks like this. So I'm even on the bottom and I'm even on the top here. See my pieces? So I'm going to stick a pin in there. I'm going to stick a pin in there just so this doesn't shift on me. Now, where I'm going to drop my needle is right here where I got this pin in here. I'm going to drop my needle right there. That's where you want to sew. You want to sew straight down. Yes, you're going to have a straight seam, but it's unnoticeable, believe me. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over to the machine. I'm going to drop my needle right where that pin is, and then we're going to pull out this pin. Okay, because my needle's holding it now. And we're going to sew a straight line. Completely straight. And you've got to keep shifting your fabric to make sure it stays nice and lined up and straight. Okay, so I'm going to back stitch. And I'm going to sew as straight as I can. Back stitch. And pull this off. Now I can pull this pin out. Now you want to trim your fabric off to 1/4 of an inch here. So I'm gonna, can't tell with that thread hanging there. So I'm going to trim 1/4 of an inch away, or a little bit bigger. Doesn't really matter. And that's garbage. And then you want to press this seam open with your fingers. So you just basically want to do a finger press with this pressed open, like so. Just use your fingernail or whatever it is you got. Trim that thread off. Okay. Press, press, fold it back where the fold is. Okay. And look at that. Now you line it up here in your quilt. And it lines up, no pucker, no extra stuff. It all fits in here perfectly. So now I'm going to just continue sewing straight down my 1/4 inch. And that's how you finish off your binding. That took a lot of practice. I promise you. It was not easy the first time I did it because I did not understand what the hell I was doing. But it comes to you after you make so many quilts. It's like almost like common sense, and you just like, oh. Give it a couple back stitches and continue sewing. So what you want to be careful is if you pull this too tight. Ruby, I gotta go. Thank you so much. I'll be waiting to watch your paper craft in the new year. So, no line, which means Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Take care. Same to you, Tracy. If I don't see you, God bless. Take it easy, my friend. So what you want to be careful is if you leave this, you sew this and it's too big, it's going to pucker. If it's too short, your quilt's going to pull. So you've got to be exact with this. So I'm not going to get any puckers. I'm not going to be, you'll see, it'll be nice and flat. And my seam is barely noticeable now that it's seamed in there. That second seam's in here, but you can't really see this. See, you don't really see my seam. So that makes it absolutely unique. That is super cool. It's a really good trick. Really, really good trick to do when you're ending your quilt. Now, some people will make that diagonal one. I cannot be bothered to go through that. That's complicated. That is for a super advanced quilter. I just leave it a straight seam, guys. You cannot tell. You cannot see it. Like, can you actually see my seam? How bad? Like, seriously? It's nice and flat because we opened the seams. So look how good. And look, no puckering and no extra binding in there. So that's it. That's a good lesson for you guys, learning how to miter your corners and how to end your binding, which is so, so, so nice to have. I wish there was videos to have it. Now, when I sew my binding, I don't hand stitch it. Lots of people do, but I can't be bothered. I absolutely cannot. I do not have time to hand stitch these quilts. I don't have time for that. So I do all of my quilts on the machine using a stitch in the ditch stitch. So that means that I will stitch all in the ditch here and it'll catch the fabric on the back side, I hope. That's why it's very important to stay at the 1/4 inch, especially if you're going to be sewing this instead of hand stitching it. So let me show you. We'll do our first corner miter. Once we get flipping, I got to get pinning here. So got to move a lot of stuff out of the way here because I like to dump some clips. So what you do is give it a good little pull, little press with your finger and pull it around to the back side. But I'm going to do it from the back side because I find it easier to do it from the back. So because we are doing, all you want to do is make sure that all your threads are tucked in like that, all your frayed pieces, because it's nasty to pull them out. So you just give it a pull, fold it over. So I'm pretty sure that's going to catch on my needle and stick a pin in there. Okay. So I'm going to come up to the corner here, tuck in all my threads. If it's too much and too bulky, what do I do with my snips? Just snip some of these threads off because they will hang out and then you've got to sit there and pull them all off. And it's no fun. So I like to do, for the corners, I like to do a little bit of the turning of the binding first, about that much. And then I like to go to the other side and turn this binding over the seam. And I want to make sure it's going to be wide enough that it's going to snag my threads on the other side. So when I sew in the ditch, it needs to pick up this thread here, or this piece of fabric here. So that's extremely important why you have to stay 1/4 inch and consistent about it. All right, so for your corner now, that your corner is rightly mitered on this side, it's perfect. You can see your miter. What I do here is I just bring up this over. No, don't roll it too much. Pull this right to the edge, tuck your fingernail in there, and then you fold your piece of fabric over so that your corners absolutely match at the bottom. So it's mitered like that. Okay, and it's matching at the bottom. So I stick a pin in there, well, a clip. All right, like that, or you can put it like that. It don't matter, you can put a whole bunch of pins in there, but it is nicely mitered on both sides. And that's what you're going for. So you just keep turning and tucking. This is a thread. This is time consuming because you want to make sure you don't roll any of your fabric in the seam, and you want to make sure all the stuff's tucked in. And also you need to sign your quilt. So I'm going to sign it. I'm going to grab my marker and the year and the date that I finished it. And the marker had to get away. All right. So I'm going to sign it on this side, I think. You'll see it better. I'm signing it really Lockwood with permanent marker. And it is, what's the date today? It is the 16th of December. So December 16th, 2019. And then I'm going to sign it on the here with my signature. So that's how you sign your quilts. See, the date, everything's in there, and it'll get tucked inside of your quilt. That's what you want. Got to sign your quilts. It's absolute must. Because sometimes the binding comes off in, 30 years from now. The binding might come undone, and they'll see who made this quilt, whoever ends up with it. See, I can feel it. You can kind of feel it if you fold your fabric in there. You don't want to do that. And I just use the Wonder Clips, and they work just perfectly. But when I'm sewing it, I'm also stretching this over to make sure my thread catches on the backs of this. And this just finishes it off. Like, who wants to look at this crappy stuff on the edge like that? But this just makes it look. So the binding always gives it that finishing beauty. So I'll just pin one side. I'll get one side pinned. Then I'll show you how to stitch, and then I'm going to end the video so you guys can see. And if I get to do my quilting today on my quilting frame, which I probably will be, because this is all I have to do today is just bind this one. I'm going to start quilting another men's quilt because I have 2 of them already squared up. The backings are sewed. They're ready to go on the quilting frame. I will come back later today and do some quilting on my frame for you guys so you can see some free motion quilting, how I did that. It's kind of called a wave design, how I did the wave. This one's bubbles, sort of. I don't know what you call that. It's just a whole bunch of circles that I just thought was appropriate for a little boy. So, and I didn't want to make the quilts babyish for my grandchildren because I want them to grow with the quilt. So this is perfect for Chase, even when he's 50 years old. It's still nice. It's still boyish. But I'll show you how I do my stitches in the ditches. And then you don't see any stitching on the front of your quilt. You will see it on the back, though. But that's inevitable. Unless you hand stitch this. So you'd have to go along and hand stitch this all with a hidden stitch. No thanks. I don't have time to do that. I just don't have time for that. Oops. So I'm just pinning one side for now, and then I'll sew it. I'm tucking in all those frayed edges, hopefully. Make sure that's flat. That's got a piece sticking out. This is time consuming, but it's worth it. I should drink some of my coffee, eh, guys? Thank you, Nan. We are at the long side. I should have done the side with the tag in it. Oh, well. I do get to watch Chase today. My daughter accepted a new job, the nurse, in the baby department. I forget which one, where she takes care of the mom and the baby after the baby is born, not in labor, but in the other That's what she wanted to do originally when she became a registered nurse. She wanted to work in the baby field, but she had to work at the hospital for the last 5-6 years now. As it's got to be going on 6 years. She was working in hemodialysis as part-time, and now she's going to be moving to that baby department next year. In March, I think she got the job. And I won't be watching Chase anymore because she'll be working strictly days and strictly nights. No more evening shifts like she works 3 to 11 right now in the hemodialysis. So I won't be able to watch him. I said, oh, well, I'll just take him on weekends like I do. She goes, oh, be my guest. Because he's at that touch everything stage now. Everything. He's into everything. He's very inquisitive. He wants to see everything and touch everything at his house. He doesn't do that here, though. Told my daughter he's a very good boy here. And she's like, no, he's not. He can't be because he touches everything, pulls her cupboards apart, takes everything out of her cupboards. I was like, welcome to motherhood. And she's one of those ones that will not ever give him a device. He's not even allowed to have a device here. Okay, so before I do this corner, I always like to come down on the other side and pinch this over a little bit first. So I've got that corner perfect. So I'll put a few clips in it, and then I'll go back and finish that miter. And then I'll just carry on. So what I do is I push that in, flatten that nice and straight like that, fold that over. Hopefully you can see that. Flatten it nice and straight, and then fold it over so that the miters, the fold meets with this L. So you have a perfect miter there. See that? Ouch, my thumb. Okay. And then I'm just going to stick a clip in there. And that's that. So easy to do your miters. Okay. So because I did here, I like to start here so I can sew over that corner. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Now I'm going to turn my quilt over to the front side. And bring my camera back up so you guys can see. There we go. And now I'm going to stitch in the ditch along here. So let me pull this out, pull this nice and tight. And on this part here, I don't sew this super fast, because if you go super fast, you're gonna screw up. You're gonna be going crooked and running into your binding. So you don't want to do that. You want this to be basically invisible. Okay, so I'll show you. And I did take a little back stitch, two back stitches is good. And I'm sewing along the edge, trying to hide my seam, praying to God it caught on the back side. That's the part you really need to watch, because if it doesn't catch, you're ripping it out. Believe me. Probably should change my thread color. So what I do when I get to the corner, I go one stitch into the binding, and then I back stitch one, and then I just turn the corner, and then that should have caught that binding. So what you want to do is see how close it is to the edge in some spots. That's because my binding, my sewing of 1/4 inch wasn't that great. That's why it's doing that, because I'm not a great sewer. But I'm just going to keep doing this and pray I get it right. So I'm just going to keep stretching this over, even though I have that in it. I still want to check it. So I get a little ways, I flip over, and I check to make sure it's snagging my binding on the back. So look at that nice, perfect mitered corner, guys. Absolutely perfect. No, my daughter's working in hemodialysis, which she gives people dialysis. So yeah, I probably should change threads. I should leave that one brown on the bottom and change this one to that cream color because it's very seeable. Yeah, I'm going to do that because I don't like it like that. I don't want to put the cream colored in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change my thread, take the brown off the top, and sew with the cream colored that I've been sewing with this whole quilt. And then it'll be less likely to see the thread. So let me pull that down. And then I'm lazy. I hate threading my machine, so I just tie the threads together and pull them through. Because I'm lazy when it comes to this. And I even pull it through the needle. So, like so. Called lazy. And then I'll sit there, pull the needle, and pull it through the needle. And now I don't have to thread my machine. Called lazy man's way of threading your machine. That's going to look way better than that brown showing. I probably should rip it out. It looks terrible. And I'm probably going to. Yeah, I really don't like that. I don't mind it on the back. It's not as noticeable on there, but it's very noticeable on here. So I'm going to start a little ways down because I'm going to rip that out. Let's see. Got it snapped in the back, which I do. So I'll do a couple back stitches. Let's have a look. Oh my God, that's way better. Talk about lazy. Yeah, so that thread now is very, very hard to see on some of the colors, most of the colors. Because it's invisible. Not invisible, but it's white. White, it's off-white. It's a chlorophyll thread. That brown is terrible, but I don't think they'll even notice that. So, pulling that out, pulling that over, and I'm only doing a little piece at a time. And then I pull it over and I check to make sure it's all caught in there. See, it's caught. Because yesterday I was sewing and sewing and sewing, and a whole half of my side, I wasn't paying mind to that. And I had to go back and rip that out and re-sew it. I missed too much. So now I check. So flip it over. See how it just catches there? And if you see little threads sticking out, that's part of the stuff that you got tucked inside. Just snip it off if you can't pull it all the way out. So that's that. That's the binding, guys. That's how easy it is to finish off a gorgeous quilt like this. So you can't even see my sewing. See? It's all in the ditch along here. I really, really hope that this was an educational for the adults. You don't see too many kids making quilts. This video was not made for kids. It was made for adults, for sure. But I'm just not going to bore you with going on and sewing. I just wanted you guys to see the difference. Now, see, you can see the stitches here, but if you hand stitch that, if you got the time, go for it. I don't have the time, or I would. So if I get a chance, when I get the next quilt on the quilting machine, I get a chance today, I'll come back and show you guys how I do my free motion quilting. I hope this was a lot of fun and you guys learned something, especially those out there that want to quilt and want to do a nice, gorgeous binding like this with perfect mitered corners like that. That makes, you know, it really makes the world a difference when you have a nice mitered corner. It really does. So there's both sides. Look at how nice. And there's my sewing. You can barely see the brown thread, but you really can see it on here. If you pull it apart, you can see the brown stitching. So I like this color better. Barely seeable. You can even see it. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. Just wanted to share this with you and hopefully you guys learn something. Yeah, I'm really proud of this. This was my very first quilt I quilted, was this one. And I made a few boo-boos on it, but you'll never see those boo-boos because that's the joy of going in all kinds of directions and circles and sizes. You can't ever see where I overlapped, like I overlapped in some places. I can't remember where. Like, look at how sloppy that is right there. See that right here? Where are you, camera? Back. Like, look. I went to a point and then I went in a circle. Like, that was a boo-boo. You can see it right there. Right there. Gosh, I can't even figure out where this camera is. You can see it there. So it went pointy and then in a circle. Hello, Cheryl. So yeah, you will never see my mistakes. And the mistakes are meant to be in this quilt because they are unique now. So if I find any more, I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure that this one's going to be done today. And I'll be starting on the next man's quilt. And remember, I showed you guys how to make your own tags. Get someone to embroider this for you. Sew your tag in. Make sure it matches your backing so it's, you know, kind of camouflaged a little bit. And they can even hang their quilt up on this because this will be double sewed in once I put that binding on it. So yeah, and it won't look so crappy. It'll be really beautiful. So yeah, great day, guys. I had fun teaching you guys a few things, and I'll be back probably today as soon as Chase goes home. I'm going to pull up my quilting frame, and I'm going to start quilting my next quilt because I've got to get these done. I have 6 more to go, and I only have 2 of them with the backing sewed. The other, and these 2 are squared up. I haven't done the other ones yet. All right, guys, God bless. Thank you very, very much for being here with me and watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys later on today. Can't promise 100%, but I'm pretty sure I'll be back, but no promise. I don't want to hurt you guys' feelings. Anyways, just click on the bell and you'll be notified when I go live, okay? So take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye. Thank you. Au revoir.